Well, we've been talking today about the fellowship of the martyrs. There's been a lot of talk about whether this is a cult or whether it's not. I'll let you make up your own mind about that. I believe in freedom of religion. I believe in freedom of speech. And, the internet is an interesting phenomenon, don't you think? It gives everybody that's got a computer and a camera a platform where they can get up and talk about anything that they want to talk about. Now, earlier I played several excerpts of Doug's sermons for him to comment on and react to. There's one other that, frankly, is just offensive to my sensibilities.
Last night, I went out and prayed that God would kill everybody on the planet.
That's just stupid.
You want some context for that?
No, I don't care what the context is.
You want some context for that?
No, I don't care what the context is. What
context for that?
No, I don't care what the context is.
But I'm praying the Lord would do to me whatever He has to do to me so that I'd be a useful, contrite, broken vessel for His purposes. In fact, last night, I went out and prayed that God would kill everybody on the planet. That they would be dead to self and useful for His purposes, or that He'd just take them home or take them wherever they're supposed to go. Now, biblically, that's exactly what we're walking into. That's exactly what the end times are supposed to be. The fellowship of the martyrs and everybody else. The sheep and the goats. Those that are dead to self and those that won't let go of self for anything and want the world and the things of the world. So I don't think it's an unbiblical prayer. Maybe you don't like the way I word it. But we're all going to die. And we're all going to live forever somewhere. And we're all worshiping something. If you're worshiping Jesus, and you're really full of Jesus, some of you probably ought to act different than you're acting. If all the people that came at me telling me how wrong I am were actually acting like Jesus when they did it, it would be a lot more convincing.
That's just stupid.
You want some context for that?
No, I don't care what the context is. What I care about is, you apparently think it's funny, but what I hear, in the absence of real leadership, there are certain people in this world that'll follow anybody, and that's dangerous. But what I just heard is some guy with a camera It's interesting because this morning I prayed that God would watch over you, and specifically you.
I prayed for
you
too.
And I prayed that God would watch over everybody that's up there in Liberty, Missouri. And then you get on the internet and pray about that.
That they would die to their flesh.
That's just stupid.
Not that their heart would stop beating. Not that they would blow up.
It's just a way to draw attention to yourself. And you ought not do that.
That is so out of context.
You just ought not do that. You just ought not do that.
I'm sorry if you're offended, but you're offended about a half of a sentence taken out of context.
Yeah, I'm offended by the way you're using this platform to draw attention to yourself. If you want to go do good works, go do them. But don't use this to draw attention to yourself. And in so doing, misguide people that are vulnerable. And then they go off in a direction that you're just not around to clean up the mess.
I get emails every day from people that are closer
I want
to
to thank
God.
all of my guests for being here today. Special thanks to cult expert Rick Ross. Thanks for being here. So long.